everyone, and welcome back to our Year 11 podcast. My name's Hope, and I'm back here again interviewing some of our students who are currently studying at the University of Sussex. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about knowing your strengths and building confidence. So, let's get started. So, I am joined here today by Katie and Shaq. Hello, guys. Katie is currently studying in her third year, studying drama and English. And Shaq, who you met in our first episode, is studying law with criminology. So first question today. One of our themes is identifying your strengths. What would you say is your top strength, and how has that helped you at university?
For me, it would be people skills. So because I went to a predominantly black secondary school, but then a predominantly white sixth form, it kind of forced me to come out my comfort zone because I had to find new ways to relate to people and just to build connection with them. So because I had the two different environments, when I went to university, it really helped me to form friendships and just to get along with people better, even in terms of doing group work or group projects, or just generically just asking someone, oh, how do you get to Jubilee or to Chichester, because sometimes the university is very massive, so sometimes you need the help to get around from A to B. So I'd say people skills would be my top skill.
Nice. Katie, how about you?
So I'm a little bit of a mum. I'm like the mum of the friendship group. So for me, it's kind of like organisation. It's like that's kind of organising me, but also organising a lot of my friends as well. So at uni, I've got like a weekly planner that I stick on my wall because I did sort of try the whole diary thing, but lugging that around with you, having to put it in all the time is a bit annoying. So having it sort of just written out on my wall, I can add bits and bobs and just take a picture, helps me sort of manage my time quite well because I have a hard time saying no to anything. So yeah, organisation is probably mine.
Can you think of any areas or skills where you previously felt like you lacked confidence, but now you feel more confident in, and how did you build that confidence? Sorry, long question. Great face, Shaq.
Yeah, sorry, I was just scrounging my brain. Areas that I lacked confidence in. I think it's something I need to work on. It's listening. Because I talk so much, I never actually listen. And I always got told as a child, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so use it in that order. So you're meant to listen to more than you actually speak. But I do like hearing my own voice, which isn't great, but it does just mean that sometimes, if I'm in a group project, sometimes I like to take charge of it because that's just the character I am. But sometimes other people's ideas are also valid. So it's just about listening, just 10, 20% more what other people actually have to say. And it takes time to do that, because when you have a certain type of character or a certain type of personality, you have to really refrain yourself from doing so. But then every time I have done that, it has been a real benefit, because obviously you're working in a group or you're in a team, so it's good to take on other people's opinions. So yeah, listening.
So mine's kind of similar to Shaq's in that I'm a real control freak. And I really struggle sort of letting other people take the reins a bit. So yeah, just sort of going with the flow a bit more and letting other people take control is something I really struggle with. So actually sort of when you do listen to other people, you find out what their strengths are as well. Because actually sometimes it's easier to delegate people who have their own strengths rather than just trying to take it all on yourself.
Right, a deep question here. Can you think of a time where you felt like you have failed, but in hindsight, you've learned from that experience?
Yeah, so when I was in sixth form, it was when I was applying for degree apprenticeships, because I didn't really feel like going to university because I didn't want the debt and I wanted to make some money. So it was a firm of Jones Day, and I got through the application, the interviews, the assessment centers, the practice days. I made it to the final 6 out of 500 candidates. Then I never actually got it. And I was thinking, I put all this work in, spent months doing all this preparation, going into offices, smoozing people, smiling, just putting my best version of myself. And I was so deflated after I didn't get it. I was like, well, what do I do now? Because people always say that, be expected, you're never going to get the first job you apply for. But I was really, really adamant I was going to get it. I had a very positive mental attitude. So when I didn't get it, it really deflated me. But then after, I was like, well, I'm still not going to go to university, even though I did in the end. I got a job as a barrister's clerk, which was not a degree apprenticeship, but I was still in the same field of law. And I actually learned more being a barrister's clerk because I got that hand-on experience when I was able to go to courts or like shadow barristers or like go to loads of different solicitors firms than I would have got in the first year of doing my degree apprenticeship anyway. So even though it was a real knockback because I was down for about a good week, I'm like, oh, I thought I was going to get it. I thought I was going to get it. It actually turned out more beneficial because when I entered the profession or the working world, I realized I don't want to do this right now. Let me go to university because if I probably start a degree apprenticeship, I would never be at university. So I'll never be here now. So, yeah.
So for me, it's bad grades. I don't necessarily mean in the sense of like, oh, I've always got to get the top grades. It's more sort of not getting the grade you expected. So in terms of like, you work hard and you see the results. Having that, especially when I had A levels for my English literature, I really expected, I was like, yeah, these are all the exams I wanted, these are the questions I wanted, and it's not coming through. So yeah, bad grades is something I really struggle with, especially for drama now at university, because it's so different. But actually sort of working on that has helped me understand more effectively what is expected of me, and also like the drama teachers really drill it into us of like, just let go of what you think we want and do what you think is best, like what you want to do. So that's, again, it's part of me being a control freak. Sort of failing from working hard is a really difficult thing for me to grasp.
I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially because there's such a big jump up from GCSEs to A levels, and then again from A levels to like a degree and studying at university. If you're a high achiever at GCSE, you then have to work a lot harder to get the same kind of grades when you progress. So I can definitely understand that. Okay, cool. Yeah. My last question for you guys today is, so for our Year 11s watching this podcast, they are looking ahead to life after GCSE and after school. What's one piece of advice that you would give them?
Okay, so it would probably be to believe in yourself, because during 15 and 16, I always had this mentality that I'm never going to apply myself because I was scared to fail. So it's kind of the opposite of what Katie was saying. Like, if I got a C without trying, that was good for me. But if I got a C with trying, I'd be like, that's rubbish. Like, I put all my effort into this and I got a bad grade. But when I actually did apply to myself, I was getting good grades, but it was just that fear of failure, which always kept me from actually trying. Because I'd be like, oh yeah, take a C, I didn't try, yeah, I'm the guy. But then when I did try and I still got like a D, I felt like a mug. So I feel like this, if you was to believe in yourself a little bit more, that would have been good. Yeah, just a little bit of belief.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And that actually leads us right into our challenge for this week.
Okay, guys, so I have a challenge for you. Challenge number 1 is to write down one skill this week that you're going to work on, which you're good at. Challenge number 2 is to write down another skill which you'd like to develop over the next coming weeks or months, which would actually benefit you at sixth form or college. Good luck.